Howdy, my name is Nair. I'm a lecturer at the Department of English, and I'm very happy to hold this little lecture on ideas. Now, how does one generate ideas, or how do ideas come into being? Well, this is a concept wherein people cannot deliver with certainty and say that this is how an idea should originate. A writer, an English writer, the father of modern English essay, Sir Francis Bacon. He belonged to the latter part of the 16th century, early part of the 17th century. In his essay of studies, he says, in order for one to get an idea, and a complete one, has to read, has to confer, and has to write. For the first 70,000 ages, mankind ate their meat raw, clawing or biting it from the living animal. So basically, people were more interested in eating the raw flesh. They'd never even thought or visualized about the concept or the importance of fire, what it could render to their meal. So he discusses two important characters in that little vignette. He talks about Bobo and Hoti. Hoti is the father of Bobo. So he tells his son, Bobo, take care of the hut while I'm away. But Bobo, being Bobo, a young little lad, was more interested in playing with the fire in the hut. But he does not realize that he's also going to burn down the 9 of the pigs in the hut. And so the pigs burn along with the hut, and Bobo tries to save the scenario. He tries to touch the burnt flesh of the pigs. The moment is such that it singes his fingers, and in order to alleviate the pain, he places the fingers in his mouth. He gets a taste of beautiful fried meat. It's called a porkling, right? And the taste was amazingly delicious. The father comes back, he's angry. Hoti comes back, he's angry. He yells at his kid, but in the process, when he tastes the meat, he realizes that it is far better than eating raw flesh. So therein began the origins of cooking with fire. Now, the very second image lets us know that specific thought has gone, a deep layer of thought has gone into the making of that burger. Let's look at the arrangement. You have the bread, you have the lettuce, you have the meat, cheese, tomatoes. So you can't just toss everything and say this is a burger. Cook it all up together and serve it and say this is a burger. That idea is going to misfire. As far as I'm concerned, an ethical standard is always a must when an idea is created. An idea should meet ethical standards always. Now let's take into consideration two scenarios. We have a sports company that is interested in making a sport drink. But people in the company are more interested in peddling out the drink. They have not gone through the nuances of checking the ingredients, verifying and seeing whether this is going to pose a threat to humanity or not. They're just interested in advertising it, allowing the masses to hurriedly buy it and make their quick buck. But what happens in that? It's an idea nonetheless, but it's an idea that is going to backfire and ultimately lead to the deaths of a lot of people. So it's going to hound the person who created it. It's also going to hound the company. It's not going to be available to create any more of those drinks for the future. They might have the best of ideas in the future. They might have the ideal of people to peddle a sports drink which might meet all the ethical standards, but people are not going to believe in it and buy it. So ethically meeting the challenges and perspectives is very, very important. Any idea has to be tested as far as that is concerned. The nature of rain is the same, but it makes thorns grow in the marshes and flowers in the garden. So ultimately, it is hard for me, again with certainty, to state that an idea that flourishes in one part of the world is there to flourish in another part of the world. Remember, we are parts and parcels of different cultures, belief systems, and moral standards. So nobody can say with certainty whether an idea that is a success in one part of the world will be a success in another part of the world. The most important element associated with the idea is the connection with empathy. Empathy is very important because it is able to connect with the different pulses in humanity. If an idea lacks empathy, lacks feeling, lacks understanding, the idea is very topical. It's not going to be there for generations to come. An idea that is deep rooted in empathy is there to stand throughout eternity. Feel free to contact me. I would be more than willing to listen to you from your end, and have a splendid semester.